You want me to just intro you?
Huh?
You want me to intro you?
I need an intro.
Huh?
I need an intro.
So you're going first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
All right, you don't need this, right?
What?
Do you need this?
The camera's right here.
Wait, where do I have to stand? Are you gonna move it around? Do you have the ability to move?
My mic's on.
All right, got accustomed to speaking in front of a group and making sure everybody comes to the meeting. And given the times that we're in right now, we want to make sure there's no shortage. But I read something the other day that you are who you are at your worst, right? You aren't who you are at your best. If you look at the last 10 years, a lot of people have gotten comfortable, and they've, we haven't. There hasn't been that urge to grow because people they have a surplus. A lot of the population, especially where we live, has a surplus of money. They're very comfortable. They have the security of a job. They work in industries that they feel are very secure, and they're never going to have to change or try something different. They rely on either the corporation, the government, their company, whatever it is. And now we're starting to find out that there's once in a while, right? Not often, but once in a while, there's going to be a situation that's completely out of left field. It's going to be a curveball in life. And the question is, are you equipped for that? So this is just another reason why I'm so blessed to have taken advantage of the Primerica opportunity, because I'm prepared. I'm prepared financially. I'm prepared mentally with all the self-improvement and development and leadership that Primerica has taught me and given me. And I think that we're really poised to make a difference. When a lot of people are going to sit back and have a lot of anxiety, I think that we can turn this into a real growth opportunity. So I appreciate you guys logging in this morning, and we're going to be doing it like this for the foreseeable future. And you are who you are at your worst. So that doesn't mean that things may get bad for you, but they're gonna get a little uncomfortable for the world. And what are you gonna do? What new habits are you gonna create, right? What are you gonna be thinking about? What messages are you gonna be spreading? Are you gonna be the one spreading the bad news and the bad articles and the scary news? Or are you gonna be spreading around acts of kindness and ways that we can potentially still be productive? So with that, I'm gonna bring Shaq up. And again, just kind of, forgive us if we seem a little bit off. This is different for us. You literally just put that in front of the camera. But let's bring Shaq up. He's got a couple good messages, and I'll come back up, and then we'll get through the training back and forth. So, all right, Shaq.
This morning, and we're growing. Obviously, yes, this is extremely awkward for us. Not having a room full of people and clapping and feeling the environment. But we wanted to do this. I love doing Saturday training. It feels very weird not doing Saturday training. So I wanted to just reach out and communicate. I have a couple points on stuff that we are going to train on. But I do want to, talk a little bit about just leadership. And what is leadership, what's not leadership, before I get into the meat of our training. Obviously, the training will not be that long because I know people can absorb the content. And the most important thing on Saturday is to set appointments. So, I'm sure I'm like everybody else consuming a lot of news, and that'd be the first point. Limit the news, okay? I'm not saying I want you to be responsible. I want you to be up to date. I want you to not be in the dark about some of these things. There's very important things going on. They're going to adjust the camera. I'm short. Sorry about that. How's that?
Yeah, it's good. We just didn't want to look into your nostrils.
Okay. All right. But what sells in the news? News, there's clickbait. They want to sensationalize the news. A lot of people want to break the news. A lot of people want to create some hysteria. And even for me, sometimes I'll see public officials go up there and they have no idea what's going on. And, they say things and they could be factually wrong or right. And I get scared. So limit the news. All right. I'm not saying be ignorant, but limit it. It's very negative that it ever happens again. But if it's not this, it'll be something else. And that's what I've learned. Also replace, right? If you're not watching the news, maybe you can read books, audios, communicate with people, plug into all the Zooms, rewatch some of our trainings, practice your presentation. People are witnessing you, right? I look at me and if you look at leadership is not being an entrepreneur. Leadership is not making money. Leadership is not a position. It's not title, right? John Maxwell says, Samir just talked about it. Who are you when things get tough? Relationships, who you know, who do you associate with? 3, knowledge, what you know. 4, intuition, what you feel. Experience, number 5, where you've been. 6, past success, track record, what you've done. And 7, ability, what you can do. That's why people follow you, right? Now, some of those things that I mentioned, whether it be being a parent or your job or being an entrepreneur, some of those things may affect these 7, but leadership for me, I know like my kids, if they see me hold up, if they see me tightened up, if they see me frantic, not composed, they see me angry, frustrated, they're gonna, they follow me. They take my lead. So, I know, and your team does the same thing. So how you're operating in this kind of crisis, in this time, and I don't want to overplay it. I also don't want to downplay it. That shows that determines everything. So anyways, let's talk about some of the training. I wanted to go through that really quickly. Some people are really thriving. Some people are doing well. I was just on the phone with Jen Lee. I know some of you guys are on the threads. Jen just had her best week. She had 40 appointments set at last Saturday. Her and her team closed 4,700 personal, and her team did 9,000 of premium. A little less than 9,000 of premium in 1 week. Her best week ever. So some people are doing really well. And I'm going to kind of go over some of the notes I got from her. I interviewed. Let's talk about the first thing. So, you guys know me. If you guys know me, I love working out. I'm a fitness person because I feel like we have a wider reach. We can communicate with more people. People don't have to leave their home. There's more appeal. There's more allure. People may not want to meet with you, but just like me, I have a gym at home and I have a lot of equipment. I paid so much money. I barely use this stuff, but I have a barbell. I have weights. I have dumbbells. I have jump ropes. I have, someone got me a gift for battle ropes. I have everything in my gym. And I can use it, and I've been using it now that we're under a kind of a quarantine or whatever, self-imposed restrictions. But I still like going to the gym. Why do I like going to the gym? I like seeing the other people. I like the environment. I like the music. I like seeing people lift heavy weights. I like seeing people sweating, and it motivates me to get into my workout. It's just not the same at home. Okay, so we have to be aware of this. Even though we're doing everything virtual, everything, okay, we're doing meetings virtual, we're doing trainings virtual, we're plugging into the company virtually. We're on. Kelvin had a success story with his new recruit Kelly. He recruited Kelly, Kelly's in Florida. Kelly had a Zoom appointment with somebody in North Carolina. Gabe had something like this as well. He recruited somebody. He was in New York and Massachusetts, and then North Carolina as well. So we have 3 people in 3 different locations doing training appointments, doing interviews. But how do we create the environment? How do we create that gym environment? I like watching movies, but there's something different about going to the movie theater. I like doing this, but there's something different about high-fiving people on Saturday training, watching them cross the stage and feeling their energy. So how do we recreate the gym environment? Well, the first thing is through Telegram. Look, you got to be on Telegram. You got to be posting messages. You got to be sending out good news. You got to be posting your progress, whether it's I set an appointment, I set an interview, I made a phone call, I made 10 calls. This is how many people I talked to. This is the person I sent 50 messages on social media, right? If you get busy, you'll get dizzy. If you're kind of just being a recluse at the office, we'd have a scoreboard. We'd recognize activity. Now, how do we do that? On your Telegram, right? Obviously, I have threads. I have broadcast chats. I have activity threads. I have results threads. Everybody in here is probably part of 4 or 5 threads on here, whether it's an unlicensed chat, whether it's a virtual chat, where you're people all out of state or people that all speak the same language. Be very active, right? I'll give you an example about how active you need to be. I remember, I get approached about a lot of businesses, and somebody approached me and someone else that I know about an app. And this app was, it was a cool concept. It was a cool idea. And they said, this is going to be and they literally said this, $1 billion app. And I was laughing, but, I got excited about it. I was like, wow, $1 billion. And so I called my wife's cousin who does a lot of app work and app development for, a major company. And I said, hey, check this out. I just want to make sure I'm not missing out on an opportunity. And he checked it out. And he gave me his criticisms for it, things that $1 billion valuations. He goes, if you think about Facebook, if you think about Instagram, if you think about these apps and Twitter that sell or give us, they log on to these things 40 to 50 times a day. And think about that for a second. $1 billion company is a fabric of people's lives. We're trying to create a multi-million-dollar company, or maybe one day $1 billion company. I'm talking $1 billion company within Primerica's organization with thousands of agents. Well, it starts with you. If your activity thread, I used to have a saying, live and die by your activity thread. If you're not on Telegram communicating with other people, and it's not part of your everyday life, how do you ever expect to have $1 million company, right? Now, I'm not saying you have to be obsessed with it, but it has to be an integral part of your daily life, posting all the time. Well, I don't have stuff to post. That's why you'll have to get creative and start doing activity. Well, I can't do activity. You got to find people on the thread, listen to what they're doing, message them directly. You can even leave them an audio question. We used to have to take people out to lunch, take them out to coffee. You could just, I'm leaving messages for people in the company, Joe Ward, these guys, and I just leave them Telegram messages and they get back to me. And I just ask them, make sure that you are creating the gym environment, creating the Saturday training environment. You should be, if you're a leader, right? When my daughter uses the potty, I give her a high five. I tell her that she's the greatest thing in the world. When babies, they learn how to crawl or they sit up on their stomach, you recognize them. It's the same thing, right? Clap for your teammates, encourage your teammates, send positive recognition, especially in these troubling times. So, setting appointments with Zoom, that's the first thing. For me, obviously I'm getting cabin fever, right? I'm getting, I'm getting a little stir crazy. They said that, a psychologist said, a couple of things will rise. You'll see an increased number because of the quarantine will be pregnancies and divorces, okay? And for me, maybe murder, right? Because I don't know what I'm going to do with my children, and I'm watching them turn into animals, and and it's all fun. I mean, it's cool, but it's weird. It's awkward. It's and obviously I'm teasing, but it's just not being able to go certain places and stuff like that. So I actually enjoy doing the Zooms. The Zooms for me are a break, right? They're kind of a little bit of me time where I get. And she made a really good point. I thought this was amazing because I'm the other day when Hector Lamarck was doing his conference call, I was on Zoom with people listening to the call together. Think about that. So you can do Zoom for everything. It doesn't have to just be for work. So what Jen said, what Jen told me she does is she's doing Zoom during the orientation. And during the orientation, normally, right, if I'm getting a recruit started, so I'm here with Thomas and I things, and, he's going to be nervous. And then the leader steps up and encourages, forces, but is firm on Thomas, we need to get out in the field. Because always remember, the work in this business is getting in the field fast. How do you do that? So what Jen said she does, because I was even confused about it, because I've done some orientations, but I actually have not had any productive work sessions. That's just me being honest. And I've done a lot of Zoom assists where I'm meeting with people, but we have not been able to get a lot of work done. Jen just says, you call right there on the Zoom, on your phone, put it on speaker, and I'll talk through my computer and set up the appointment. So you can do where I'm on Zoom with you talking about, and the op meeting and the slides, and we were texting each other and talking through Zoom because our computers were muted, and we were watching it together, go through slides and PowerPoints. No, people are making phone calls now. And if we're on younger people and you're doing interviews, you can maybe say, hey, do you have 10 minutes to get on a Zoom right now and then do an interview in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I mean, the longest a Zoom interview should ever go is 30 minutes. So, we need to move fast. We need to have a wider reach. We need to get extremely creative. And I'm interested in people's feedback on how they're using Zoom to get people off to a fast start. Because you can get 3 people. You can get people. Now, for example, you're doing KTs and the husband's one place and the wife, is another place out of town. Now you can all do Zoom. So, and then understand this attention. Sometimes you'll have to do a few more one-legged appointments. You're not going to be as strict Zoom as a face-to-face. And the other party doesn't have to cook anything for you. So it's going to be a little bit quicker. It's going to be, the pace of the appointment will be a little bit faster, but you have to be a little bit more liberal. Now, obviously, yes, you want the husband and wife both there. You want them, hopefully the kids are in bed, but that's not the reality. So, and now you can do appointments at any time because, understand that most people are home. They got no excuse. And if they're looking for a break for 30 minutes or 45 minutes for a KT, for an interview, for an orientation, take advantage of the downtime. So 1, be more liberal. 2, understand it may take more meetings. And people can still feel your energy on Zoom, right? If you perk up a little bit, have passion in what you're doing. Use the drawings, use the whiteboard. I feel people will follow that a little bit more than the slides. That's just my experience. I've been talking virtually with people for months now. I've been doing a Zoom training. I've been doing Zoom training for all my people out of state for a while now. So this is something I've already kind of put the wheels in motion. People have been using Zoom in our company and in our office for a very, very long time. People can still feel your energy. Always remember, only 7% of communication is the physical, actual words. But body language, posture, how you look, how you're dressed, how you've done your hair, your grooming, all that stuff is really, really important. 3-way with the Zoom, with everything. Right? Always do, hey, jump on a Zoom real quick. Jump on a Zoom real quick. I think that if you're a leader in this group, you should be Zooming with your team almost every day, maybe with people individually every single day. People are consuming, okay? And I'm not saying it's good or bad. They are consuming so much negativity right now. Look, I am a very positive person. I'm mentally strong. I am scared. I am terrified sometimes. I mean, some of the pictures online, whether the lockdown, the grocery stores, the military or National Guard getting, so I have to consume a lot of positive stuff. So when I can hear Bruce's voice or a voice of somebody that's coming, or I can talk to my team and I got to be strong for them, or I see my kids, and I mean this, I'm not saying like I'm quivering. I'm frantic. I'm just being honest. I'm frantic, right? I mean, so I got a positive. So, it's not over the top to Zoom with people almost every day. You should be Zooming with people every day, right? Instead of binge Netflixing, maybe do something else and Zoom with your team and just talk to them and chat with them for 5 or 10 minutes and just so they can see your voice. I mean, see your face and they can hear your voice and they can just feel you and you guys calm each other down, right? I've been doing Zooms 5-10 times a day with people. Definitely use the Zoom to make phone calls, build the list on Zoom, have them go through it right there. You can write on the whiteboard. You can share your screen with people, have them fill it out right there. Don't say fill it out and come back to me. Just have them do it right there. But understand, be liberal. You're not going to be able to be as firm with people when it comes to Zoom, meaning maybe you can't get a list of 100. Now, I hope people can, and I hope people share those stories. But maybe you get a list of 10 and get on the phone and set a few appointments, okay? And have a tremendous sense of urgency. Sometimes you can say, what are you doing tonight? Do you have time right now for interviews? Do you have time right now for 20 minutes? I can go through it, right? Because then, remember, the interview is just going to be a short interview, and then we're going to send content out, which we're going to talk about. So that's the Zoom stuff. Now, social media. Let's talk about that real quick, and how to attract people with great content. I'm not great on social media, so I interviewed a lot of people that are very good on social media. They have a following. They have gotten recruits in the past. They've gotten clients in the past. What are you trying to do with social media? Okay, number one, you have to go against the grain a little bit. All right. Now, certain things in social media are a turnoff for me. But, you have to post positive content. All right. What does that mean? I asked Jen, post, because she's been getting a lot of good feedback, post stuff on how you've helped families, how you were there for them, a lighthouse for a lost ship at sea, how you are able to save them money. You don't have to over exaggerate. You don't have to pretend you're something you're not. If you are uncomfortable posting stuff, maybe you forward somebody else's post, okay? And in posting stuff is not always asking people to join your business or do business with you. It could be sharing success stories, saying stuff like, we were able to install a security camera and a person on my team made $350 from watching a video, and then, transitioning or pivoting into, hey, this person, we have a lot of success stories. We have a recruit, Trin, she closed 3 Vivants in her first week, right? Made, whatever it was, almost $1,500 in compensation without a license from watching a video, right? Think about that. I mean, people are, concerned about money right now. They're very nervous about it. So post great stuff. Post stuff that you guys are doing creatively with your family. Post, positive things, right? It doesn't have to just be work related, Primerica related, but if you're posting negative stuff, and that is not going to draw and attract the right people to your business, right? We have. I'm going to send this out to the group. I have a 30-minute. No, actually, it's less than that. A 25-minute introductory interview that I already created for this. The sound is not great, so I'm going to redo one. But it's slides and it's me introducing. Send that link out to people. I'm going to be doing, this is another major announcement. I'm going to be doing a Zoom webinar op meeting every day this week, Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. for 30 minutes. I was so disappointed with how my first one went last Thursday that I want to redeem myself and I want to get great at it. I'm going to master this. The op meetings that I do, I think, I do a really good op meeting. It's good. It's great on time. It's powerful. It's inspirational. It's informational. I get a lot of great feedback coming out of the op meeting. And so I have high standards for myself. So the op meeting that I did on Thursday at 2 o'clock wasn't the greatest. I was choppy. I was all over the place. I was having difficulty doing through Zoom, but that was my first one. So now I'm going to do it every day live at 2 o'clock. Invite people, send the link. It's the link I already sent you. It's the same Zoom number, and I'll be broadcasting 2 o'clock on Zoom for 30 minutes. And so you send that out to people on social media. Some of you guys are messaging people that come across the people that you may know. Join Facebook groups of people, and then you can search the keywords and look for part-time or income or work and message those people directly. Hey, Thomas, I noticed you posted something about looking for work. I don't know if you still stand, but our company's hiring people. We're thriving. We're looking for great people right now, working from home, remotely. You never need to, in a great industry. Let me send you a 30-minute video, or invite them to the op meeting on Monday. Now, you don't want to tell them that we're having it every single day. You want to get a firm commitment. I'm telling you because I know a lot of people are running a steamed phone call script, and they're interviewing people. They're calling people who have their resumes online, or college students, or top 25 lists. Just invite them to the meeting. Tell them it's 30 minutes. It's not even going to be 30 minutes probably, but tell them it's 30 minutes. You'll hear from my broker that has 350 agents, that has 10 locations, that has made hundreds of thousands of dollars in this business. And he's going to be talking about our opportunity to work from home. Our part-timers make, whatever it is, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40. We have a part-timer making over $60,000 a year, part-time as high as $80,000 a year part-time, right? So sell it, sell the opportunity, sell the knowledge. So, people are open right now. People who said no before are going to say yes now. But you got to go out and reach people. At the end of the day, if you don't send messages, if you don't call people, if you don't Zoom with people, nothing's going to happen. But the people that double down now in this crisis, my whole business, I was telling somebody, my whole business ultimately was built in that 2007, 2008 kind of economy crash. Now, I had the foundation before that, but we thrived. I was the #1 new RVP for 18 months from 2007, 2008, and 2009 as we were coming out, and that helped me explode my business. So those are the benefits of Zoom. And I don't know if you want to grab some here, so I'm about to bring them up. How am I doing on time?
30 minutes.
Okay. All right. So, Sameer's going to talk about the economy, obviously the Dow Jones, the stock market, client conversations. He went over this. I got a lot of feedback on the message that he's sending to clients. I've actually sent that to all my clients. It's a great message. I do feel you should reach out to your clients right now, especially if you have investment accounts with them. My bank is reaching out to me. My, car companies are reaching out to me. My, anybody that I do business, and I'm, companies that I sign up for their email, I'm on their email list, have reached out to me. Why are they reaching out? Because they know customers are concerned, customers are nervous, customers are frantic. And I know Sameer's done a great job calling clients. Hey, we've had a lot of clients invest money. We have a lot of clients upping their insurance. We have a lot of clients putting child riders on right now. Business is great out there. Sometimes it's only bad up here. And I wanted Sameer to come up and talk about the state of the economy, the state of the market, having certain conversations with clients. And he's going to go through that briefly. But remember, after Sameer finishes, the #1 thing is setting appointments on Saturday, making sure you have your week booked out. It's a new week. There's a $50 IBA. If people paid $100 yesterday because the system there was a glitch in the system, they will refund the $50. There's a bonus 5% for everybody that's 3 by 3,000 personal, and then you'll get 5% on all your business that you do. And there's a lot of great things, monetary on the line in the end of March.
All right, guys, let's get started. So, one of the elephants in the room right now is what's going to happen to people's investments, what's happening with the stock market, and I want to talk about that. And the angle that I want to come at you today with is, this is where Primerica brings the value. This is when our clients benefit from us the most versus other companies. This is where for all the people that didn't invest with us in the past and they stayed with the do-it-yourself brokers and index funds and no advice, these are the people right now that are going to experience the most discomfort. Okay. I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and she was telling me that she's a nurse, she works in a hospital, And, she was telling me that she said, I've had so many client conversations. I want to reference some of those because I've been calling everybody. I've been trying to stay ahead of this. And she said, is there anything that I need to do, or should I just keep my money the same? And she said, because people at work are telling me that they've cashed everything out and they're taking money out of their 401ks, or they're moving everything to cash. And that is literally the worst decision in the world. Okay. You have to understand that when times like this happen, right, which are very rare, you have to figure out who you're going to follow. And the worst thing that you can do is panic and have a herd mentality, right? What the herd is doing right now, they're moving from stocks to cash, right? They're getting out of the market. They're stopping future contributions. Somebody called me the other day and they said that they got an alert that one of their clients that stopped their monthly contribution. Are you crazy? This is the best time to be contributing, right? It doesn't mean that it's not uncomfortable. It doesn't mean that it doesn't suck to see your money go down 30, 40% in some cases. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that it's temporary, right? You cannot panic. And I told my clients, people sometimes they talk about American funds and they talk about how we charge an upfront fee and you can go to Fidelity, you can go to Vanguard. Well, check this out. I've had clients that call me with sometimes a modest investment in the tens of thousands, sometimes a larger investment in the hundreds of thousands, some people approaching, multiple seven-figure investments as a family, the amount of money that they have with me. And that phone call that they make to me because they potentially want to go to safety, they potentially want to move their money out, me telling them to stay is literally a multi-million-dollar phone call, which they wouldn't have been able to make if they didn't have me, if they didn't have an advisor, right? I'm telling all my clients that they have to stay through this, right? You guys hear me use this analogy all the time that, when is the best time to get off the roller coaster? You get off the roller coaster at the end. You never get off the roller coaster while the ride is still going, because that's how you perish, right? You're going to be a casualty. So this is where we come into play. Most middle income people, like that nurse and what her coworkers were telling her, most people don't have that someone to go to that can comfort them. What I'm starting to learn is that I don't make the real financial decisions for my clients, right? I'm just putting them in mutual funds. Mutual funds are unbelievably managed by the best people in the world. Where I add value is the counseling that I offer my clients, which is things that I learned from people who mentored me. You got to stay put. You got to stay in. You got to stay calm. You can't check your balances. You can't talk to your coworkers, right? You can't have that herd mentality. And that brings me to my next point, which is this is how wealth disparity gets even worse. What's wealth disparity? That the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Well, think about it. I have rich friends. I have average friends, right? And it's amazing to me how everyone I know that's rich, everybody that I know that has money, is not looking at their current investments. They're looking for opportunities of where they can invest, right? Now, the herd mindset, like that my clients are telling me that their coworkers are telling them to get out, they're going to lose so much money. Because think about it, guys. If your money just went down, which all of us collectively are experiencing this in just the last couple of weeks, our money's down 30%. If you cash out right now, you are realizing a loss of 30. If you stay in, you are going to see one of the greatest rallies. And I'm going to talk about that at the end, why I think that the market is going to rally. But you cannot experience or realize, you can experience a loss, right? But it's not realized until you cash out. But you know what wealthy people are doing? They're looking at opportunities. Where can they get in? How much money can they put in? So the wealthy is the 5%, and then everybody else is the 95%. 95% of people are thinking in their minds, people that don't have someone like me, people that don't have Primerica, they're thinking in their minds, I got to go to safety, right? So they're going to, let's say they have $100, their $100 is going down to 70, their 100,000 is going down to 70,000, and then they're going on the sidelines, and they're going to be fear-stricken, and they don't know when to get back in, and the market's going to start recovering, and they're going to say, do I do it now? 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 And they're going to miss that recovery. Whereas wealthy people are going to say, hey, you know what? The money that I have in, it's 30% down, but why don't I invest when it's 30% down? I mean, you think about this. You can do it on your calculator. If the market goes down 30% and I tell my clients, not only should you not make a change with the current money that you have, right? But let's see if you have any extra cash laying around. Let's go ahead and put some money in. Now you're putting money in that was, let's say, in a bank account, and you're putting it in at 70. Do you know that just for the market to recover, it's not that you're going to get 30% on the recovery. In order for the money to go back from 70 to 100 is a 50% return, guys. A 50% return. The money that you put in now that's down 30%, it's going to experience through the recovery. Now, we don't know how long that is, right? We don't know how long that is, but it could be months, it could be a year, it could be 2 years. With the funds that we use, American funds, they have a track record of recovering the money in history within a 2-year period. Can you imagine a 2-year period, the money you put in now is going to experience a 50% return? And guys, I don't know if this is the bottom, right? It may not be. I mean, this is what we've experienced before they completely shut down the entire economy. People can't work. They're not allowed to work. They're not allowed to congregate. They're not allowed to sell, right? So if we're going to shut down the entire economy, I don't know what the impact is going to be. But what I'm thinking of is, okay, what if it goes down 50%? Unprecedented, probably never happened, right? But if I go from 100 down to 50 and I invest money at 50, right? Then what's going to happen is when there's a recovery, that the money I buy at 50 is going to take a 100% return to recover, and it is going to recover. Why can I say that so confidently to my clients? You know, I talked to a client last night, and he said, I'm watching the news, I'm looking at my accounts, and I just want to hear your voice, man. Tell me. And I was at the grocery store, and I stepped out, and I just had a 20-minute talk with him. And what I was talking about was American ingenuity. Americans, we always figure it out. We have 7, 8, 9 companies right now that are working on a vaccine. And when they do, because of the great American system and capitalism, they're going to get very rich for that. And they deserve it because they're going to save lives. We never stay down long. We've been through the worst of the worst. And the way our system is built and the brains that we have in this country, we are going to recover. And you want to experience that recovery. And if you want to take advantage of the downturn, right, you can experience it or you can take advantage of it. Do what the wealthy people are doing and take your money and put more money in. So what am I advising my clients? I'm saying we're never going to know where the bottom is, but one thing that we can do is we can buy in stages, right? You can buy in stages. So I put money in when it was 10% down. I was like, wow, man, market's down 10. Then market went down 15. Then market went down 20. Now the market's down 30. I don't know. Is it going to go 40? Is it going to go 50? But one thing I do know is that I'm going to be buying in stages. I'm going to be buying as it's going down, right? So maybe I didn't buy at rock bottom, but I bought somewhere in between. And when I experience that recovery, that's when I look 20 years from now into my retirement, it's going to be the decisions that I made today, right? In these times when everybody else was panicking, the great decisions I made now is what's going to help me become wealthy. And these are the conversations where we bring value, right? Anyone who didn't do business with me, anyone who didn't invest money with me because they were trying to avoid the 2%, right? And right now they don't know what to do and they don't have somebody to call. How much is it going to cost them, right? So you could have lost out on you're losing out on hundreds of percents because you were worried about 2%. Now you're going to see, right? This is the value that we provide. So call your clients, counsel your clients, be there for your clients, right? There's only 3 options that people have. You can buy, you can sell, or you can stay the same, right? If you leave it, you're going to end up the same. If you sell, you're going to lose. If you buy, you're going to gain, right? So even if you just leave it and you don't add any money, you're going to do fine because you're going to stay the same, right? But if you sell, you're going to lose. If you buy, you're going to gain. So what's the one thing not to do, right? You don't want to sell, and moving your money into something more conservative is technically a sell, because you're selling your positions in something that is potentially aggressive, right? And then you're going into something that is not going to experience the same amount of recovery. So that's the conversation that I wanted to have, is you have to think like wealthy people. You have to think opposite from the herd. If people are selling, you got to buy. If people are getting out, you got to stay in, right? If people are panicking, you got to stay patient. And this is something that it's not just in finances, it's in every area of our life that you want to, that's the type of mindset that you want to have, right? And that brings me into my next topic, which is, this is the reason why I'm so excited to be in this business, because I was talking to a friend the other day and he goes, man, people aren't going to eat out. They're not going to buy cars. And this is for a long time. I think the restaurants will recover fairly quickly, but there's going to be certain industries where when people experience this kind of loss, they hold on to their money. And that's what causes a recession, because spending goes down, right? And when spending goes down, that's when recessions happen. Well, when spending goes down, guess what? What do people spend their money on? They spend their money only on things that they need, right? The reason why this is such an awesome business opportunity and why you need to promote this opportunity and recruit people to this opportunity is because we are in a needs business. When times get tough, the wants businesses are the ones that are going to get impacted, and the needs businesses are going to thrive, right? Now people need to talk about their investments. Now people need insurance. It's unbelievable. 20% of the population, which is in the service industry, they're getting laid off, right? And I feel so freaking bad for them. I used to be in the service industry. I used to work paycheck to paycheck. And I'm trying to figure out a way, man, that I can help people. And it sucks. And hopefully the government does something for them, right? But at the same time that 20% of the population is getting laid off and then some, we passed out a Forbes article that said people are looking for life insurance even more than before. Our demand is literally going up because we're in a needs business, right? People are wondering about their portfolios more than ever before because we're in a needs business. See, you can go out and you can join some company. You can go out there and you can start some business because maybe that's something you have a passion in, or that's something you enjoy, or something that you're good at. But what it really comes down to is when the world goes through these cycles and the economy goes through these cycles, when there's a time when people can't have what they want and they can only have things that they need, are you going to be in business? And we're not just going to be in business, but we're going to thrive in this business, man. And even on the recruiting side, do you know when I started this business, mortgages were booming. Everyone wanted to refinance. Kids my age were buying, and when I say that, you know, I was 20 years old and I was 21 years old. When I was 21, Shaq joined Primerica. I didn't listen. I didn't join. He got me in at 22. And the reason I didn't join is because I was watching people make so much money and Shaq wasn't making anything. And I watched people refinancing. I watched people making so much money in real estate. They would just buy a property and sell it 3 days later for 100,000 more. And kids were making big time money. And people, foreigners were leaving random jobs, you know, could barely speak English, and they're getting into this industry, real estate and mortgages, you know, and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Shaq approaches me with Primerica and he's like, hey, why don't you try this? Why don't we get into this? And I was thinking, people are making hundreds of thousands right away, and I'm supposed to be in some business where I have to build a team and I have to learn all these new things and I have to get licenses, right? And I have to come to these meetings and I have to grow, and it might take 2 years, right? But at the end of the day, I said, this is going to be better for the long term because we're a needs business. Our business is less cyclical, okay? Here's the thing that I have figured out, right? This is when people make decisions. They're going to make their decisions in a state of joy and inspiration, or they're going to make a decision while they're going through pain and suffering, right? So you have that choice. Everyone that we've talked to in the last 10, 11, 12 years about this opportunity, me personally, it was they didn't want to make a decision, right? Very few people wanted to make a decision because they were experiencing comfort. They were already experiencing joy, right? But now we're going to go through something that is out of everybody's control. It doesn't matter who you are, right? Everyone is going to feel the pinch now, and there's going to be some pain. And guys, there's going to be some suffering. And I think that's going to lead to people that are going to have to make better decisions. I want to read something that I'm not going to steal this. I read it somewhere, and I don't know who to give credit, but I saw it and I copied it. And it said that after this, Americans will change the way they view jobs in general. Okay, this is not a Primerica person. I remember now, I read it on LinkedIn. This is just a random person on LinkedIn that left a message in the comments after somebody posted something about the layoffs. Americans will change the way they view jobs in general and stop relying on one paycheck They'll learn how to build diversified income streams instead, such as joining the gig economy on the side of their main job or having an online business. So that makes us hugely advantageous because people are going to start to understand. See, no one ever felt that pinch before. I know people, they have jobs, they literally do nothing. They work in the single-digit hours a week sitting at a desk pretending to work, and they get paid six figures, no more. Companies are going to be more stringent now, right? Companies have less money now. The benefits are going to be less now. People have to pay attention to our opportunity because they didn't listen during joy and inspiration, right? Like Shaq and I did. We could have done so many other things. We chose to suffer when everybody else was profiting off a temporary situation, right? But now with the pain and suffering that's coming, mild, right? Nothing like that, but there is going to be some mild discomfort, for some greater. And I think that we can help people make the right decision this time around. Okay. So let's get into something that is, let's talk about this now.
Okay.
Part of our organization, I know there's some other people plugging in as well. Thomas put my slides on the drive. Okay. And I, you know, as we talk about the needs, and you may not even need to look at it, but if you want to, you can. You know, we talked about how this is a needs business and everybody needs us. And Forbes sent out an article on how people are more concerned about insurance. So we always talk about this, right? There's only 4 scenarios that you can encounter in the field. So let's talk. You can have no insurance, right? Which, how dumb does that look now, right? You can have group insurance, which is through your job. I'm going to give you my opinion on that. If you work for the government, maybe you have some insurance through them. So no insurance or insurance through your job. You can have, in my opinion, the wrong insurance, which is cash value, variable life, universal life, whole life, permanent insurance, or you can have term insurance, right? You can have term insurance. So I'm going to give you my take and how it relates to the situation we are in now, right? If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of people, smart people, that are taking advantage, not in a bad way. They're being opportunistic and they're meeting a great need, right? Because people are going online and buying insurance, or they want insurance, they don't know who to call. And I saw a message from Tanya Poe, right? And it was this awesome diagram, or not diagram, a picture that showed whatever, and it said, if you want a 15-minute brush up on insurance, if you've always wanted to know how insurance works. I mean, Amanda Brody, she sent out an amazing message the other day that I copied and then I sent to my whole team. You know, we all have different markets on social media, so it's not going to overlap. There's good material out there that you guys can take and you can blast out to your market, right? But this is not the time to not have insurance, right? As you know. And one of the things that people are looking at right now, I was talking to a guy I know that sells insurance from a different company, and he said that he got someone to switch over to his company because now one of the main things that people are worried about is the strength of a company, right? And the strength is not stock price, right? Our stock price is down right now for whatever reason, but that's not the strength. Primerica is a very low debt company. We don't have any risky investments. We sell the most profitable type of insurance, which is term. That's the only thing that we sell. We have very few liabilities. And the only thing Primerica really pays for is the home office. All of the other 130,000 agents and the 5,000 RVPs, we're all independent. We pay our own expenses. So this is the type of company that people need to be doing business with right now. And you can take that material that you're seeing online, if you don't have, like me, the creativity to create it on your own, and you can go blast that out. I mean, that is free advertising for you on social media, right? And from what I understand, it's compliant. You're not mentioning the name of a company, you're not giving quotes, you're just saying, hey, if you want to brush up, if you want to learn more, if you have questions about this at a time like this, maybe you want to talk to me. And right now, we don't know what's going to happen with medical examiners being able to go into people's homes, right? So a term now policy. Let's just get term now for now. If you want to change it later on or increase, but at least get a term now. Who's saying no now, guys? I mean, this is, we don't know what's going to happen, right? That's what Amanda put in her post, that, hey, Samir she didn't say my name, but Samir can get coronavirus. I can survive. I can be fine, but maybe I have a little bit of lung damage. And now I'm not insurable anymore. So when is the best time to get it? And if you don't have to do a medical exam, meaning you don't have to see someone physically, why wouldn't you put something in place right now? People are thinking about this, right? And you got to put it out there so they do business with the right company, a strong company, and of course having the right agent as well, right? So when people have no insurance, someone asked me this question the other day. They said, hey, what do you say when people don't have insurance? Well, what I say is, usually when someone doesn't have insurance, right, and they're responsible. So when a responsible family like yours doesn't have insurance, it's due to one of the three following reasons. You didn't think that you needed it, you didn't think you could afford it, or you just never got around to it, okay? If someone tells me that they don't need it, well, the question is, if something happened to you tomorrow morning, would you be able to maintain the exact same standard of living? When people say they don't need it, usually they're thinking something dumb like, oh, I'm going to live forever, which is very arrogant, right? Or they think I'll be okay because I'm saving money and in 20 years. No. I'm talking about tomorrow. If something happens tomorrow, is your family standard of living going to be impacted? If it is, then you have to get insurance right now, right? And all your future plans, if those actually happen, God willing, you can cancel it later on, but you need insurance right now, right? So no insurance is a major risk because it's going to impact people's immediate situation, right? And things are already about to get, like I said, everyone's going to experience a little discomfort. We don't want to add to that. We don't want to exacerbate the situation by not having anything for our family, right? So no insurance is, I think that one is common sense. I think that I would use some of the marketing that people are using to kind of get the word out, okay? Now, group insurance, to me, we always talk about this. Group insurance is no insurance. One of the questions that I used to ask, when people say, oh, I have insurance through my job, I'd say, okay, let me ask you a question. If you found a better job, better pay, right, better commute, more advancement opportunities, would you take that job? If you found a better job, better pay, better commute, more advancement opportunities, would you take that job? And 9 out of 10 times, people are going to say, yeah, I'll take that job, right? Well, what's going to happen to the insurance from your prior position, right? Is your new company going to offer insurance? You don't know that right now, right? So what's going to happen? That insurance is going to end, or it's going to convert into something that is going to become potentially unaffordable for you in the long term, right? Or it's going to be a very small amount of coverage that you're converting into a personal policy, or even worse, it's going to convert into a whole life. So this is not a fun situation to be in. And let's talk about how this relates to our current economy, okay? Life insurance benefit is not like health insurance. Health insurance with the current laws, which can change anytime, as we've seen in the last few administrations, life insurance is not required, okay? A benefit is what to a company? It's an expense. Now, if a company has the choice where they can keep on more of their staff or they can cancel some of the benefits, what do you think they're going to do? Hopefully they choose to keep you, but what they might have to do is they might have to cut off a few of these additional benefits. I know people who work for companies and they get free massages through their insurance, they get acupuncture through their insurance, they get all types of awesome things that they get access to. If a company is going to be out of business for 2 months, not out of business totally, but they're not going to be able to bring in revenue for 2 months, do you think that maybe there's going to be some changes going forward for some of these companies? I think we can assume yes. And so group insurance, in my opinion, is going to be one of those luxuries that people may not have anymore. We got to go and talk to people about this, that if you leave, it's not portable. What if you get laid off? What about all the people that are getting laid off right now? And it's not just the service industry. A lot of people are getting impacted. What if you're the manager at a gym and you had awesome benefits and you had group life insurance and you had all gyms are closed now for the foreseeable future? We don't know when what if you work at a concert venue? What if you work at a stadium? It's the ripple effect of this. And for people to rely, as we always have said, to rely on their employer now more than ever, it doesn't make any sense. You got to have a personal policy that you can take with you, that's not contingent upon your employer, that's not relying on a company's profitability. You got to do that for yourself, man. You got to do that. And one of the things that people don't talk about is that group insurance goes up over time, right? They may give you your one times your salary for free, but if you want supplemental, if you want more than that, I was looking at the rates the other day, it's more expensive than private. You don't want to become uninsurable and get stuck with group. And then on top of that, if you get laid off or your company changes the benefits or you change companies or whatever, you're left with nothing. This is not the time, right? Look, I know that some people are losing income. Trust me, the government's going to be sending them money maybe, but or whatever. People are still going to be spending money. If they're going to spend money on anything, they got to be spending money on this, right? They got to be spending money. This is a need. This is an essential thing, right? So that's with the group insurance. Next is whole life, right? Really? You got whole life right now? What's the biggest problem with whole life? Yes, you don't get your money back if you die. All that excess premium. You know, people say, oh, look at all the money I'll have. Yeah, it's because you paid 10 times more, right? If a pen costs $1 and then you pay $10 for it, right? Of course they can give you back $7 or $8 because you gave them $9 more. So you're putting in all this excess money into a policy, and then when you die, you don't even get it, right? But if you say, oh, I'm gonna get over on them, I'm gonna take the money out, well, then your family gets paid less if you die. What a dumb situation. What a dumb product, right? You're paying for insurance, you're paying for investment, you're paying for two, but you only get one. If you take the investment, they cancel your insurance. If you get the insurance, they keep your investment. Are you serious, guys? Universal life is even worse. This thing is gonna blow up on you. I'm sitting with a client right now, they've had the policy for 7, 8 years, only gonna last another 5. It's just insane to me that these products are even legal and people have it and some people are attached to it. This is not the time. But the number one problem with permanent insurance is that you're underinsured because everybody has a budget. No one says, hey, give me as much as I need and I'll pay for it. That's not how insurance works, right? Insurance is based on people's, it's a combination, Shaq taught me, of what you need and then what you can afford. So if a family can only afford 100, guess what? Whole life, variable life, they're getting 1/5 of what they need, right? Whereas in Primerica, we can give them 5 to 10 times more. So that whole life policy, where it's inhibiting you is not, at a time like now, it's not the investment component that's so bad. It's not any of that stuff. It's not all the fine, but it's not that. It's just the fact that you're underinsured, that for what you're paying for and you only have 150, you could have 550. So the big issue with the permanent insurance is that people are underinsured because they have a budget in their mind of $50, $100, and $200. And what are they paying for? They're paying for 20% of the coverage that they potentially need and what their family could get, right? So if you have no insurance, in my opinion, not smart. If you have insurance through your job, you should feel very insecure about that right now. And then if you have whole life, you should be looking at getting out and getting into a term policy with us so that we can potentially give you way more coverage, okay? The last situation is they already have term, right? They already have term. And we talk about this all the time. Not all term is created equal, right? And Shaq calls it terrible term, where you went to some whole life company, some cash value company, and then they gave you a term. How many terms out there are from prestigious firms, big insurance companies that have nice commercials and nice brochures and good looking people working in the offices, top floor in all the nice cities, right? But their term is annual renewable. It goes up every year. Or they give people a term. I was looking at someone's, it's sad, the guy has diabetes now. We can't change the policy, but he has, the New York Life gave him two policies. One is a variable life and one is a term. And I said, God, I hope your term is at least good, 5-year renewable. I mean, even when they sell term, they can't give people a level term for 20, 30 years. Let us look at your cost of insurance table, right? Let us look at your premium schedule. Let us make sure that this policy pays out in a lump sum, right? Let us make sure that you have a terminal illness rider. Let us make sure of these things. By the way, who's your agent? When's the last time you spoke to them? What's the method and delivery, of you getting that check? Because me personally, I get that when I get indication of that, I do the paperwork for you. I come over, I do everything face to face. I mean, you're going to get service in a time of need, right? So if you're going to have term, let's make sure it's the right amount, the right kind for the right amount of years and the right agent and the right company, which we check all the boxes. This is what we need to be talking to people about, guys. So, just to wrap up, this is going to be there's no way to spin it. It's going to be an uncomfortable time. For some of the things that I'm hearing and reading, maybe we're going to be home for 2 weeks, right? And some people might like that and some people may not like that. But what I'm thinking about right now is, I don't even want to say, but there's a lot of funny habits that people are picking up while they're at home. Okay. Not good ones. And so you have to make a decision in advance. And this is one of the concepts in self-improvement that I learned a long time ago, that you can make a decision in the situation or you can make a decision in advance, right? Usually when you make a decision in the situation, it's not the right situation. Like this live stream, okay? Shaq put it out last night or this morning or whenever. We've been talking about that training is going to be on, it's going to be on live stream. Now, there were some people who set their alarm and they wanted to make sure that they had their notebook and they were ready. They made that decision in advance. It's just like going to the gym, right? You make the decision in advance. Hey, Shaq always asks me, what time are you going tomorrow? What time are you going tomorrow? Because we're making the decision in advance so we don't talk ourselves out of it. Now, there's other people who couldn't even wake up and get on a live stream because they made the decision this morning. They're like, if I wake up on time, if I feel like it, well, usually you never feel like doing anything productive, right? Unless you have to from a job. And even then you don't feel like it, but you just do it anyways, right? So what's a decision that you got to make in advance that I would sit down and I would figure out what new habits can you potentially create, right? Maybe it's eating right. I was reading an article the other day that people are buying more comfort food. What does this mean? That now you're going to be eating, they said pastry sales are up, right? Because people want to run to sugar and they want to run to ice cream. Me as well. I'm getting that urge, right? But you got to make the decision in advance that maybe you're going to eat right. Maybe you're going to read some verses, out of the Bible or whatever it is that you subscribe to, whatever it is. Maybe you're going to pray more. Maybe you're going to get on YouTube and check out a home workout. You're going to do some push-ups. You're going to do some sit-ups. And to me, also very important, maybe you're going to read something, right? So always remember that what makes you who you are is what you read, who you spend time with, and what media you subscribe to, okay? So if you're on the wrong kind of media and you're watching these channels that are trying to get you to be super scared and super anxious and super fearful just so you can keep on watching, that's going to affect your mood. And you got to make a decision beforehand that you're going to avoid watching that stuff. Be in the know, right? Figure out what it is that you need to do to keep your family safe and healthy. But is that the right way? Just watching news all day, right? So what habits are you going to create during these times? Again, the herd mentality is what? Binge watch TV, binge watch Netflix, watch movies, get fat, eat whatever, right? Do all this. Go look at things you're not supposed to be looking at and talking to people you're not supposed to be talking to. Or you can say, man, that was the best 2 weeks of my life in terms of the habits I created. When I come out of it, I'm going to be bigger, better, stronger, while everybody else is weaker, right? If it's 2 weeks of quarantine and you do the wrong things, how long is it going to take for you to recover from that? Or you can come out with high energy. That was one of the things that my clients have been telling me. They're like, man, it's so good to talk to you because you have that energy and you're positive. I'm so glad that we spoke. And I'm thinking, yeah, because Primerica trained me that way. And these are decisions that I made in advance. So Shaq, we got anything else?
Set appointments.
All right, guys. So let's get productive. Let's set appointments. Let's contact everybody. This is the time. We are in a needs business and people need what we do. Thanks, guys.
All right.